Hi, it's Donna here from Blind and Knitting. I hope you're all well and enjoying your day. It's a gorgeous sunny day here in New Zealand, where I'm in the lower half of the North Island of New Zealand. We live rurally and it's just starting to feel like a bit of summer. We've certainly had a lot of rain. Well, we've had some rain, but we're also having some really nice days. It's particularly hot today. It's very hot actually, but it's nice. I shouldn't be complaining. We really should be starting to enjoy it. It's about time. Excuse me. So, Blind and Knitting. So it's my knitting podcast. I have no idea what episode we are at, to be honest. I think it might be around 21. I didn't look. But anyway, I think it's around 21. It is the 20th of November. And on Tuesday, it's Kenzie's birthday. She's 7. Oh my gosh. So for those of you that don't know, I'll just take a sip because I've had this funny thing. I had COVID months ago and I still get this funny thing. So, sorry about that. Still there. Can't get rid of it. It's always there. So, yeah, Kenzie. So I am legally blind. I have a disease called retinitis pigmentosa. And for those of you who haven't watched my podcast before, you could look back on previous ones to find out a little bit more about it. But it's basically it's tunnel vision, and all my sight, I'm completely blind all around there and all around here. I have this little tiny tunnel of vision, so I can see my hand, and if I'm looking at somebody I can see their face, but pretty much that's it. The rest of it's black, and at night time it's totally black. So I have a guide dog. I've had my guide dog Kenzie for 5 years now. She's 7. You get them when they're 2. And so it's her birthday on Tuesday, and we're celebrating by going to Australia. I'm so excited. I'm going to see some grandchildren that I haven't met Eli yet, and he's just 3 months old. And Evelyn I have met once when she was newborn, and I haven't met her since, due to for the same reasons as I've got this funny croaky voice. So that can be Kenzie's Christmas present. I'll take her up on a big bird and she can go for a flight over to Australia. This is a knitting program, and I have 2 finished objects and some whips and some new things that I think I might start working on. Yeah, today I've spent most of my day, well, I've had a lovely day actually. I got up early and I sat and knitted this morning. That was really nice. The house was quiet, and I just didn't turn anything on, no TV, no radio, and I just sat and knit. Oh, it was bliss. So until I got to the toe of one of my socks, then it wasn't bliss, but I'll fill you in that. I'll fill you in on that further down. Yeah, so welcome. If you're a returning viewer, hello again. And if you're new, welcome. If you enjoyed this, I would encourage you to subscribe. Find the little subscribe button down the bottom underneath me. I will put some description and some notes down below on anything I talk about, so that you can follow the links and find out more about whatever I talk about. Yeah, let's get started. Again, I've just got to do something with this stupid throat. Yeah, it's been a really lovely couple of weeks actually. It's kind of been a true sort of summer, spring New Zealand weather. Nice and wet. It's good solid heavy rain when we needed it. My partner's a farmer, so well, you know, there's crops that have been sown that they just need water on, and my garden was looking very dry. My garden, having said that, my garden has been devoured by bugs and slugs. It's just, I've had some good broccoli, I've got some nice broccoli flowers coming up and some cauliflowers coming up, and I've got some beetroot that's going well, but it's just killed everything else. It's just my silver beet is just a little stick, little stalk sticking out. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm working on trying to get rid of them, but it's just part of gardening, isn't it? It's part of life. You know, you can't have the good stuff without the bad. But my chooks have been laying so much, and I thought I would bring you 2 of the eggs that I collected yesterday. I've got 11 chooks, and I'm getting 10 to 11 eggs a day, although yesterday was only 8. I'm not sure what happened there. Having said that, like, this is sort of a normal egg. This was one of my 8 eggs that how many did I collect? I collected 8 yesterday, so this is one of the 8 that I collected. Normal size egg, maybe a wee bit small because I've got some pullets in there, so they're young ones, so they can be a wee bit small, but not. And then, oh my God, look at that! That poor chook, you know, it must have been with that coming out. I don't know if it'll be a double yoker. The little ones tend to be double yokers because they're, you know, rich young chooks that are laying sort of full of protein. So these tend to come from bigger, older chooks and tend to be single yokers. But what a whammy. I had to show you that. And the weight, I mean, that is a meal and a half. I usually have 2 eggs whipped up as a quick little omelette every morning. Just 2 eggs, a little bit of milk, water. I don't put milk in it, and a pinch of salt. I might just have the 1 egg with that one. I do love having fresh eggs. They're such a great. I can eat 2 eggs whipped up in the morning and not be hungry until 12:30. If I have cereal or porridge, which I like porridge, I'm starving at 11, and I'm looking in the biscuit container. So that was quite cool. What I'm wearing today, we should get into some knitting, I suppose. What I'm wearing is my raindrops. I knit this quite some time ago, maybe 18 months, 2 years ago. I wear it a lot. It's a 4-ply. It's just a commercially bought 4-ply that I bought from a local shop of ours in Masterton. It's got a wee little split in the arms, which I really like. The little sleeves, it's a nice length, and the little split with the buttons. Cute little buttons, if you can see the buttons. Cute little buttons. I'm assuming it's called raindrops because it's just all sorts of lots of little holes, little yarn overs and knit twos together, all sort of not really put in. They're just sort of blobbed. And so I do love this. It's got a nice little roll collar, roll over, not rib. Very comfortable, very feminine. Pretty top, and it's raindrops, and the designer is I'm not going to remember. I'll put it down below. Sorry, I've forgotten, but I will put it down below. But it's a good one. It's a 4-ply, merino, 100% merino 4-ply. So that's what I'm wearing. Now, finished objects. Well, my socks are finished. 2 socks. I'll show you the both so prove it. I'm still trying to find my love of knitting socks. I love knitting straight, just round and round. I probably took a little longer getting these finished this time because last time we spoke, my brother-in-law had a medical hiccup. Unfortunately, very sadly, he had a family member pass away, so they had to go up to Auckland. So I was back house sitting again, which is what we do for family, isn't it? You know, you look after things while they need. Which meant I didn't get taxi rides or car rides into work each day, and that's often when I do my sock knitting because it's 20 minutes. It's quite nice when I stay in town or when I work from home to not have that ride, so it's 40 minutes a day that I collect, but it's also my knitting time. I can do one of those stripes in one trip. So yeah, love the socks, love wearing them. They are, and I've spoke about this in detail in another podcast, they are a little bit big because I'm still learning. I think I did 74 stitches. I really need to get, pardon me, I could probably go down to, even 62. But they're still quite wearable, quite comfortable. They are super soft. They are commercially bought self-striping yarn called Crochet, and I bought this in a craft shop in Carterton, which is a little town just south of Masterton, where I do most of my shopping. Yeah, but I love these. So as I was saying, I'm trying to get my mojo with socks, and I love wearing socks, love wearing knitted socks. Now, isn't that interesting? That might be because one's freshly knitted. Seems to almost be a centimetre shorter than the other one. But that might be because one's been rolled up and knitted and the other one's freshly knitted. Shouldn't be too much difference in them. Anyway, my legs aren't going to tell anyone when I'm wearing them. I love wearing knitted socks, really do. I wear socks instead of slippers because I'm being blind. One of the things that I find useful is sort of having my feet close to the floor, so to speak, because then I can sense carpet changes and cracks and bumps and things easier. So socks are better for me than slippers, which, you know, often have a sole on them. And yeah, so so I wanted to start knitting them. Now I really love the knitting straight, and I love it on the little 9-inch circulars. Really happy with that, but I hate the heel and I hate the toe. So heel flap and gusset, and I think a lot of the hate's a strong word, isn't it? I really don't like doing the heel and the toe, and I think that's because, well, firstly my sight challenges, because it's, you know, very tiny needles, very, you know, full ply, and you're doing quite fiddly little bits. Obviously I can do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that heel flap and gusset. Heel flap and gusset. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't enjoy doing it. And the toe, well, I mean, there was a lot of father, uncle, cousins and kids being spoken about this morning, trying to get the toes done. And you know, it's funny, I was so worried about what they look like, and I've done them. I was just getting so cross. They look great. They look fine. Isn't it funny, the pressure we put on ourselves? Can you see? I don't know if you can see that or not, because I can't see it. So it is funny, the pressure you put on yourself, isn't it? And I dropped a stitch, and I thought, right, I'll just pick that up afterwards and sew it in, which I did. But oh yeah, no, the toes just really got me. And I mean, I know I'm inexperienced on them, and experience might help. Well, it does help when you're blind. You know, learning a new skill when you're blind is a challenge. But I'm going to persevere. So that's one of my finished objects. I'm really happy with them. Just still haven't quite got that sock mojo yet. So I'm going to try some DKs. And my next one that I'm going to do is, where's my pattern? It's this one. Petite Knits Sunday socks, and I've got a really pretty, it's kind of quite a pink, it's a very smoky sort of pink cream flecked. It's from Squishy McDougall, and it's 80/20 nylon, merino nylon, 8 ply. So I'm going to make these. And I think, you know, I'm just hoping that 8 ply might be easier, not so fiddly, and I don't know where to put those. Just throw them down there. Podcasts, you know, and they say that they've got all the stuff all around them. Well, it's quite true, you do. Yeah, so I'll try those. I'll cast those on. I promised myself I will have a pair of socks cast on all the time. So I'll give those ones a try. I might find that the 8 ply is better. I did start a long time ago an 8 ply, excuse me, 8 ply ankle sock. And I'm just not sure if I'd wear an ankle sock. So I unpicked it, what do you call it? Unravelled it. I know there's a name for it, but it's gone. And I didn't try again. So, because I love wearing 4 ply. Anyway. That's where it is. It may be that because I get so much pleasure out of just round and round and round and round and round, that I knit them like that and get one of my lovely friends to help me pick up the stitches to do a an afterthought sock heel. And then the other thing I thought was maybe I could try a toe up, and that would eliminate some of that really fiddly. Well, I mean, you're still going to have the fiddly, but you're going to get to the biggest, you're not going to get to the fiddly and just want to get it finished and rush. It's at the beginning. That's my theory anyway. So that's my sock. My next finished object is, and I'm going to have to go down and reach again. Excuse me. Oh, smack my head. That's terrible, isn't it? Sorry. So last time I spoke, I talked about a knitting podcast that I really love, and it's called The Knitting Stew, and it's a lovely woman who's an air hostess or air stewardess, and she was making little leaves, and this is the pattern. Don't want you to see the pattern. It's at the, and the pattern is actually for face cloths, so it's made out of cotton. And it's Megan Goodacre's leafy washcloths. Now, what she was doing, and I've talked about this before, was making them quite small out of pure wool and making them into a coaster. And then she'd buy a pottery cup as a gift, and give someone a coaster and a pottery gift. So there's my little pottery gift coaster. Yeah, I just love it. I think it's quite a neat little gift. It looks quite small, but when you put a cup on it, the cup sits on it quite nicely. Although I did think next time I get the ironing board out, I might give it a steam and sort of just give it a real good flatten. I love the pattern. I just made it up after it's so easy, it's intuitive. Yeah, so quite cool. Going to make a few of them. I'm going to get some pottery cups. Might even go back to pottery. Call me Deirdre. I'm going to have all these pottery things. But anyway, really happy with that. So, and I thought I'm actually I'm needing some more dishcloths at home. My dishcloths I've got, I need to soak them in granola while I'm, but I thought maybe I've got some really cool cotton, and I know these are a washcloth, but I thought I'd make some dishcloths in the leaf shape as well, just for something different. So easy, just something different. Quite cool. So that's my other finished object. Didn't take long. I don't know if you saw my last podcast, but I'd made quite a big one, and dare I say it, that the lovely ladies I spoke to and said, what's wrong with this, because it looked shaped like a mask. It kind of buckled, and they said, oh, you've picked the wrong needle size. And I thought, oh, not about that. Oh, sorry ladies, you were right. It's me sort of, But anyway, you were right. So when I kind of had the right needle size for the right wool, it comes out the right size, and really happy with that. I think if if I'm going to do like maybe an autumn tones, I'll do a dark green one and a rusty brown one, and maybe a really gold one, and have them kind of autumn tones. And yeah, so that's my other finished object, or my other FO. As I said, I've been staying at my sister's, so I haven't done a huge amount of knitting. I've actually been working quite long hours of recent. Mondays and Tuesdays I haven't been getting home till about 8 o'clock for the last few weeks, so that's probably why my throat's like this. I'm probably tired. I've been doing a lot, but that's because I knew I was going on holiday to Australia, so I needed to get a lot done. Firstly, to save up a bit of money, and secondly, just to make sure that everything was done before I left. Yeah, so I have done the paperwork for Kenzie. There's a lot of paperwork involved when you have a guide dog. Honestly, it's a whack, and I seriously considered not taking her and leaving her here with my partner and family. But to be honest, using a guide dog is a bit like the difference between when I use my cane, it's like riding with roller skates on. When I use Kenzie, my guide dog, it's kind of like driving in a limousine. That's the difference. That's how much easier she makes my life. And I know I myself didn't understand it until I had a dog myself. So I know that it's quite a hard concept to get. But I do feel a lot safer when I'm walking with Kenzie, because she will walk me around things. She'll, if there's something above me, she'll walk, you know, she'll let me know, and if there's something below, she'll let me know. Whereas my cane will just let me know just what's direct at its point, which keeps me safe to a degree. But anyway, the paperwork was just, and it does cost me quite a bit of money to take her over, so hence, as I said before, and my beautiful children have shouted me the trip over, but I still have to pay for Kenzie. She gets free flights, but I have to pay. She has to have 4 vet checks, 2 vet checks before she goes, one from MPI, which is Ministry of Primary Industries, and one from the Australian equivalent, and 2 ordinary vet checks from just regular vets as well. I don't know why they make it so difficult. They could make it easier. I actually feel, I got quite grumpy there for a while, and I was thinking, this is discrimination. You know, there must be other service dogs, and why are they making it so hard? Why can they not just have a passport that, you know, she could be stamped or something to say she's been to the vet, instead of having to write? And I mean, I'm not joking. I was actually going to bring it and show you, but it's honestly, it's a wad of paperwork that you've got to get through. Anyway, grump, mumble, mumble. What am I up to? So that's my FOs. Now my whips. Where am I up to with my whips? The main one that I've been working on is my weekender slip over, pull over, which is in this bag here. Now I've kind of had sort of, I've talked to myself a lot about this pattern. It's like, you know, oh, do I really like it? Should I keep going? No, I'll rip back. No, keep going. You know, back and forth, back and forth. In the meantime, I've been doing all that, but while I've been doing all that, I've been knitting it, and of course it's gone quite a way through, so it's like, I'm not going to rip it back now. So I put it on yesterday. I put those cords in, and I put it on, and yes, I think I'm going to like it. I think it's going to do what I feel it's going to do. It's got quite a bit of positive ease, probably 8 to 10 inches, so it's going to be quite comfortable. It's really open. I've knitted on 5.5 needles, and it's got a very big open gauge, in which the pattern called for. So I am knitting it to pattern because it's quite a loose. It's one of those ones that a lot of people are knitting. Petite knits, weekend slip over. Yeah, weekend slip over V-neck. Yeah, so I'm enjoying just easy knitting, to be honest, and it's quite, as it's getting warmer, it's getting easier to do. But I did put it on, and I thought, yeah, it's actually going to do what I want. But the interesting thing is, again, I don't know whether you can see this or not, but I've actually got quite good, I've got really even knitting, even knit and pearls. I've got quite even, and I'll show you on my socks if you can see. Oh, actually, because Google now has this thing where you can flick it out, so I'll just hold it there. So I do have very even knitting, and this one, oh, sorry, it's that awkward stage. My knitting is, and I can't work out whether it's the gauge, or whether it's the wool, or whether it's me, but it's definitely quite irregular. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to learn to love it, because you know, at one stage I thought, well, I'll rip back and I will knit it with a mohair, but I'm not a mohair. It's just not me. I'm not a fluffy person, really, although I quite like pretties. But this isn't what I wanted this for. I wanted this to be a nice, loose, throw over, quick and easy, comfortable thing to throw over a nice white broderie anglaise shirt or something. So I'm going to learn to love it. I'm wondering whether it'll block out. Of course, I haven't blocked it and tried either. You know, this is the thing. This is what happens. You know, people say do a gauge swatch and block it, and you don't, and then you get halfway through and you think, oh, do I actually like that tension? Oh, do I like the way that is? But I cannot get over how inconsistent, wibbly wobbly the stitches are. And I know my knitting is not like that. So it's going to be really interesting whether that blocks out and they get even, or whether it's going to stay like that. If it's going to stay like that, and my mother always said this, is whatever you do, as long as it's consistent and it's, you know, matches, so it's not just one area, it's the whole thing is wibbly wobbly. But I absolutely adore the colour and I love the concept of it, and this is already packed up ready to go to Australia. I've put my rubber bands on the needles so that hopefully they don't get confiscated, but that's all packed up ready to go to Oz. Actually, I better take my little scissors out of there though, that they will get confiscated, won't they? So that's the one that I've been kind of working on the most. It's just been a nice brain dead knit. Really enjoyed it. The other whip that I've been working on a little bit, not as much, as my cardigan, and this again is just a cardigan that I'm making up the pattern. I'm using a couple of patterns to just get some figures and ideas from, to make a throw on quick easy cardigan. And so what I'm up to is I have done the back to the shoulders, I've done the left side to the shoulders, and I am now up to, I don't want to lose my stitches, to the right shoulders. And there you can see, I'm just checking, my knitting's lovely and even. So it's definitely not my knitting. It's got to be the wool or the gauge. So I'm really enjoying this. I'm looking forward to having this, and I just want it to be a really comfortable throw on. I'm all into comfort at the moment, aren't I? Really comfortable throw on jersey. Don't think I'll take this to Aussie, so the next time I podcast there might not be a great deal of progress on that, but I'm not in a hurry. I'm just, you know, I'm just pottering with that, and I know it's going to be a useful garment when it's done. I haven't really decided. I think what I'll do is take those petite socks on the plane with me and knit on those on the plane, and take my weekend slip over and put that in my suitcase for when I'm there. I probably won't get much knitting done, but I'd rather have it and not use it, not knit it, than not have it and sit there and think, oh God, I could sit on the beach and knit for a while. Our little Airbnb is right on the beach in Wollongong, which is where I'm going, which is 2 hours south of Sydney, where my son lives and his lovely wife. So that's I've got my other whips, but I haven't done anything on them. I've got my half and half wrap. That's just going to be a potterer. You know, I've got a lot of time off. I do always take 3 weeks off over Christmas, and so as long as the heat's not too hideous for knitting, I'll probably, you know, potter along with those. Not in any hurry for that one again. What else have I got that's a whip? No, I think that's it actually. I thought I might have got cast-on-itis again. It's funny when you finish something, and I can barely say that a pair of socks and a leaf is finishing something big. But I'm going to, I'm deliberating, and I can't, no, I'm going to have to wobble you about because it's caught on this leaf, on the leg. Bear with. So, I thought what I would do is knit a shawl while I'm away, or take a shawl to be there if wanted. So, the one that I've wanted to knit for a long time is the Rubicon Pointed Shawl by Erica Sufka, S-U-F-K-A, and forgive me if I've done that incorrectly, and I will put the link down below. And I was running out of ink, so my picture's not the greatest, but it's a beautiful striped, one stripe's just knit and the other stripe's lace. And so I've shown you these wools before. I won this a quiz night for Cairns by Skeins. It's the new natural yarn wool. It's so that's my site. I couldn't even find the camera. Oh, you must think I'm such a dork. Anyway, it's a beautiful, it's all these sort of pewter, mulberry, antique colours, so it's really lovely. And beautiful lady from Strawberry Patches sent me that in the post. Well, honey, thank you, darling. And so I'm going to put those two together and do that shawl. But then I also have these that I brought. And so Sue's hand-dyed fabric and fibre. And I brought these at Kenzie's Carn as well. 8 plies as well. One's a speckled one, and one is more a semi-solid, and I'm going to make a shawl out of those too. So that's another one. Shawls, I love shawls. I have so many scarves and shawls, but you know, I fit them. I often go into a shop, and if I can't fit it, I will. And right, so where are we up to? So I'm just.
Excuse me.
Sorry, I had to pause that for a while. I forgot to cancel my taxi that I wasn't using today, and so they rang and said, "I'm here to pick you up. Where are you?" Oh, so I'm really sorry about that. Where was I at? Well, I've lost my thread, but what I'll do is I'll show you these. I said that we've been doing some fun stuff during the term at work, and one of the things that we did was made bath salts for gifts. So I made 2 lovely punnets of bath salts. So easy and so cheap, and what you get in the bath and the smell. I've made peppermint, so that would be a lovely refreshing bath, and I've made lavender, so that would be a nice relaxing one, and I did pink and blue. It's so easy. Rock salt, Epsom salt, and baking soda, I think. But great gift for kids to give to their teachers. But yeah, so that's, I've just looked at my leaf on the table. It actually looks really cool sitting there on the table. I just, now that I see it, the concept of it, I love it. Right. I was thinking about mental health the other day, and because I often sort of have a little thing that I try and add in here, and I was talking to a young man who had been diagnosed with a terrible autoimmune disorder, and he's only not 20 yet, and it's a life-changing diagnosis. Not terminal, but it's going to make his life a challenge. And so we were talking through it a lot, and I was telling him about trying to set a challenge for yourself so that you are pushing yourself just out of your boundaries once a year. So he's going to try doing that. But I think the biggest message him and I both agreed on was it's really important to do what you can and focus on what you can and not what you can't. It's very easy to focus on what you can't. It's like, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that, and I try. And a great example today, my mending pile has gone. my ironing board is gone. I did some mending today. I got my sewing machine out, and in the back of my head I kept saying, you can't do this, you can't sew. What if you can't, because the needle will get you, or how the hell are you going to thread the needle? And I thought, you've got to listen to my own words. I can do it. It's just going to be a little slower. It's going to be a little harder. It's going to take me a little longer, and I'm probably going to need some help along the way. So, and I've been a sewer, all my life, and that was my former career, was sewing. So, not only is it just something I've been doing, it was a career. And so I got my sewing machine out, and I did it. And what a feeling afterwards. It was harder, I admit, and there was a few, expletives come out, and thread broke and all those sorts of things, but I did it. And while I was doing it, all I could do was think about that young man, and I hope that he is really focusing on what he can and not what he can't, because there'll be lots of things you can't, but there are things you can. And yeah, anyway, that's my mental health thing. I really do encourage you, and regardless of what your disability is, or your different ability, or even if you're just finding life tough and you're in a low spot, try focusing on the positive and the what you cans. And I hope that's something that I share out there, because that's something that I really understand with my challenges. Is, there are days when I just want to hide under my duvet and not come out, and because it's just too damn hard. But I really try hard to focus on what I can. So, yeah, where am I at? I have talked about my whips. I have shown you my FOs. I have talked about my future knits. I've talked a little bit about mental health. I've shared my chockadoo eggs. I think we're pretty done. Yeah. So there's my podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to talking to you next time. I've googled wool shops in Wollongong and Warrawong, which is not far away from Warrawong. I'm not sure. It's another little township close to where I'm staying, to see if there's any acquisitions I can do when I'm out. But be a good week, and I'll see you next podcast. Bye for now.